That's cool.
Here we go. All right, so we have 47 people on live right now on all across platforms. We have 40 on YouTube, so mostly everybody in YouTube. Hello, New Zealand. Screen is on fire!
New Zealand.
Yeah, Jason's warming his hand. So let me introduce our guests today. I know Jason's been in the vlog a little bit on YouTube. I don't know if he's appeared very much on Facebook or Twitch or any other platforms.
I was your weather cameraman.
Yes. So welcome to Jason Williams.
Hi.
And we've also got Paris Baird here. He is, he helps out a lot as well. So
I'm on ancient videos, going way back.
Yeah, so like season 1, probably.
And he's like an idiot savant, which is the first half.
Yeah. Only my right side is the idiot savant.
So hopefully, those of you on YouTube that joined the last little bit, and sorry if I expressed frustration, but I was genuinely frustrated with not being able to figure out what the heck was going on, because the YouTube site froze up on me in 2 different windows. I couldn't see anything that was going on. But anyway, what we're doing is we're talking about just random fun stuff that people ask all the time that we just, it's not something I necessarily want to cover on a flying vlog, but since we're all trapped in quarantine, that I thought that we're...
Yes, Kevin.
Yes.
All right.
So we're going to... Kevin Sadas, he's always on. He's awesome. So we're going to talk about some things that are, the most asked questions that we get. And one of the most asked questions that we get is, what does Cory Robin do for a living? What do I do for a living, Paris?
Yes.
Well, he mostly sits in this chair.
Yes,
and
right here.
Stuff goes from there.
So I run a small business. The primary business, I guess I run several, but the primary business that we spend most of our time on, and I know both Jason and Paris help out with the YouTube stuff, but that, believe it or not, is not what they do full time. We run a business called SkyVantage, and we provide airline software solutions to, airlines. What do you do at SkyVantage, Paris?
I do everything, including janitorial. So, support mostly for a lot of customers, training. So I interact a lot with the people that we've already connected to SkyVantage. And so, in a nutshell, that's what I do.
Interwebs training.
The interwebs training. Yeah, so David Anderson mentions in the chat over on YouTube, and if you're on Facebook or over on Twitter or Twitch, you can enter in chat items too, and they should all consolidate down into our chat client here. But feel free to ask any questions you can as we go through, and we'll try to answer some of those in real time. But SkyVantage provides airline software, right?
Yes.
And what does that entail?
Well, it's the way to book a flight. It's the management of the profiles for the passengers, so their frequent flyer miles. If they have an e-commerce site where they do their booking online, we can help them with that. We help keep it running. We can also give advice on how to do your pricing and how to do your schedules and where you should fly. I mean, we're willing to do all ends of the airline spectrum.
So what do you do for SkyVantage?
That's a really interesting question. I do a lot of the IT work. I do the on-site training. I do a little bit of the support when Paris is swamped. So like when we had that really big hurricane that kind of took out a big chunk of the Bahamas, everybody in the company was support, and that was, we were all hands on deck just to help out.
Yeah, so, and that's one of the offerings that we offer that's kind of unique to our business. There's a lot of hosted software providers that provide, and what we do is we provide reservations, and that's everything from call center applications to distribution with other networks like online travel agencies and things like that, and as well as e-commerce systems. And so we host all of that in our data center. And then we also do passenger management, and that flows into the PSS, the passenger systems services, where we do all the airport processing. So you show up at the airport, the airline has to enplane you on the aircraft. They have to do things like weight and balance. They track your baggage, they track freight, they do, it's a fairly intense business model that we host, and so we host all the operations stuff too. While the aircraft is operating, we do the flight tracking, the flight following, the dispatch, departure control, all of that stuff, and everything in between, including irregular operations, which is our job basically right now. It's been a little crazy with canceling flights and moving passengers around and dealing with complex issues like how do you do bulk refunds and things like that for this COVID situation. And so for us, even though revenues are really down because our revenues are tied to the people that are booking, we're as busy as ever. And these airlines have a very complex business model. And then the final thing that we cover is the finance side. There's a huge reporting element on top of it that tracks everything from operations. So you can do reporting on all of the operations you do from an operational perspective, but there's also the financial component that we also provide. There's several questions about what we do. We host small to medium and startup airlines. And so our largest client, I'd say, is maybe a couple of 100,000 passengers a month. And that's really considered very small. The smallest ones are the little mom and pops that you'd see flying like
Salmon River in Idaho.
Yeah, up the Salmon River in Idaho, flying little bush planes. And so from the very smallest boutique operators to fairly sizable national carriers, say in Central America, Guatemala, Costa Rica, countries like that where we host a lot of infrastructure. We're very big in the Bahamas. And so anyway, this is Paris. Tell me about a day in the life of your job here at SkyVantage and what you do.
I would say just a point by point during the day is a lot of people like to send emails after hours. So I will come in the morning and first thing, just check out my emails because that's usually what I'm going to see right off the bat and go through all those. It takes me probably, on average 2 hours in the morning to get through everything, respond as appropriate, and it could be anything. I mean, each airline, the airline industry is not a cookie cutter shop. Each airline, regardless, is going to be different from the next airline next to them. I mean, there are definitely some overlap, but the uniqueness that goes on from somebody in Alaska versus somebody in the Bahamas versus Central America, they all have their uniquenesses. And so when they're trying to use our system, which is just one whole offering, a lot of questions come in as, how do I do this? How do I do that? Or I'm trying to accomplish this. Or this report doesn't have what I'm looking for exactly. So I massage the system for them.
Really what Paris does on a day-to-day basis is he is an extension of all of our airline clients' operational business model. So if they have any issue whatsoever and that they cannot handle internally that is even remotely related to our system, they call Paris. For example, if they're redesigning pricing structure, or they want to start selling flight coupons, or they want to issue refunds, or they're struggling, like the hurricane situations that happen often seasonally in the Caribbean. We're very busy during hurricane season helping our clients deal with irregular operations and passenger rebooking and protecting revenue and preventing leakage and catastrophe with business continuity type stuff. And that's basically Paris's main role, is to, he leads his team. He's got a couple of other people in another room here at the office that he works with, and the whole team just helps the airlines thrive and survive and cope and sleep at night. Keep running.
Yeah. I mean, each day provides something a little bit different to dive into, and there are some things where I get, and this is probably with any business, where I get the same questions over and over again, but then there's the almost weekly random thing that pops up that you're just like, okay, that's something you just got to figure out and move forward on. So
I like to call Paris, just in my own brain is my own personal miracle worker, because some of the things that from a software perspective, it's all data and it's all very finite as to what the capabilities are, because we have a team of software developers write the software, but Paris works with the software. He's not a developer. But he is like the king of workarounds to give an immediate solution. Yes. But he also spends a lot of time interfacing with our development teams.
A lot.
And creating magic. And you know, if any of you have any familiarity with software development, it's literally taking an idea or a concept or a problem and fixing it magically with source code. And, you know, some recent issues we've had are, you know, we have, oh gosh, like pick one, like without being disclosing too much of our client secrets. Like we have, like every day we're bombarded with issues that are large or small, but, and it could be operational. For example, we had a customer in a part of the world that had customs and immigration issues, where they, in order to get to their intended destination, they had to make an intermediate stop for customs. And that all was determined kind of on the fly, and we have to comply with all the government regulations and the notification requirements for whatever country's customs and border patrol. I know in the US it's fairly easy because we're fairly advanced, but we deal with a lot of countries that don't really, I guess a nice way to say it is they don't really know what their own regulations are. Yeah. And so, you know, we kind of try to say, hey, here's how the industry works and here's how our software works. Can we make that happen? So with that particular client, we had to basically insert a stop on all their entire flight schedule without affecting pricing, without affecting flight schedule, which is very difficult when you add a 15, 20-minute stop for customs, which sometimes it can be longer, without really affecting schedules. And so you're looking at the time that the aircraft's on the ground, and you crunch that down as much as possible so that your schedule can stay in line, and it creates a cascading effect of conflict. So you delay a flight in the morning, your turn times is what we call them when you're on the ground, where you're turning the aircraft around and departing for another flight, becomes narrower and narrower and narrower. And there's a certain limitation there. You know, how fast can the ground crew deplane and enplane passengers and cargo and freight and baggage and all that stuff without it becoming chaotic. And really, quite frankly, you don't want to overwork your team either. It's fine if you do it for a short period of time and then there's a spurt, but you know, doing that consistently is an issue. So our software kind of tries to handle a lot of that complexity in an elegant manner. I don't know, right?
Yeah, I mean,
so yeah,
wrapping it all up nicely in a little package there.
Right. So running an airline is actually really a complex business, and I know some of you are pilots for different airlines, and you kind of get to see the back end of things, but we're on the software side of things, and so we write the software that kind of powers all that, and it's a lot of code. It is, you know, we've been doing it since 2002 is when I started the company. And so we've been doing it for quite a number of years, and you know, we're constantly developing new features and add-ons and sunsetting old stuff and bringing new stuff in, and it is a handful. Let's go into some questions. We've got a lot.
A lot of people.
Jason is just staring off into space, trying to find a way to get infinite Coke.
That was an actual comment.
That's right.
Okay, so somebody said, Scott Woods mentions I couldn't stand the beard anymore. That is exactly 100% accurate. These two guys are used to beards. I gotta be honest, I looked terrible with the beard. I looked like Shaggy on Scooby-Doo, where I had patches, and it just wasn't coming in full, and plus it was itchy, so see you later, beard.
That itchy stage, that's for sure.
Kristen Coyle, hello. Oh, John Pratt thought you were Creighton King.
Oh, yeah. Well, I can see that.
Yeah.
Creighton's on there going, what?
My son is, I guess, Riley. He's changed his name to Rubs.
For some reason.
So Miles is asking how much staff. And so let me address that. So most of our stuff is data center driven. So a lot of the heavy lifting is done by computers. And we also have some outsourced IT. And so I try to keep our team as small as possible to keep the costs low.
I answered that in the chat too. I said that we're reduced staff right now for COVID-19 just for safety of staff.
Yeah, so right now, how many do we have in the office right now?
6 in office.
3, 4. Yeah, so we've got 6 working right now. And then, we do have contractors doing some of our IT in our off-site data center. We don't host everything at our corporate offices here. We actually host in Tier 4 data centers. And so, though the data center itself has on-site services and IT and, all kinds of services that we buy. And then, we do farm out quite a bit of development. But, most of it is handled by us here
In-house.
In-house. Remarkably, we get a lot of work done with a relatively small team. And, I like to run a lean operation because I like to pay my employees as much as humanly possible to keep them from turning over.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys agree with that. Maybe I should leave the room so they can tell you. But
Turnover's the worst.
yeah, but in a very specialized business where aviation, as you know, has kind of its own language. And then you get into the airline industry and it has so many acronyms and things you have to learn. The learning curve is so great for somebody coming off the street, like a software developer or somebody we want to help with maybe customer relationship management or something like that. You almost have to learn to speak airline. And so there's a pretty big learning curve there where it takes 30 days to maybe 90 days to onboard somebody before they come effective. And that becomes very expensive. And the software we develop is not necessarily the most simple. It is web-based, but a lot of the concepts and a lot of the things that we develop are not just like putting together a website for your flower shop. It's a lot of data-driven, a lot of complex equations and algorithm. And when you're developing something on the top end, for example, we're adding a new layer of tariff management on top of our pricing module right now. And you'd think it's so simple. Oh, we have this new tariff that has to be applied based on the origin of where the first flight in that passenger record departs from. You'd think that would be super easy to code in, but it has a cascading effect. And not only do you have to charge the fee, you have to manage the fee, you have to set the pricing. You might have to do it by fare class or by booking thresholding. I mean, there's so much complexity that goes into something that might seem so simple that there is a big learning curve, and development is a little bit slower than just developing a shopping cart like Shopify or something like that. David from Flaybob. Hey, what's up, buddy? I need to get down there. I met David, it's been 4 or 5 years ago now, maybe 4 years ago now, when I made a trip down there and we camped on the grass, had some pizza. They had a little airport meeting there and we got to tag along. It's good to see you on the chat, David. Let's scroll and see if we can find more. Oh, you're answering questions in real time as well.
Yeah, trying to.
Brian Beckman's asking, do we outsource or offshore our software development? We really try not to. In the airline environment, there's a lot of considerations. Number one, the learning curve. I guess you could break up a project up into really small pieces and then farm those small pieces out. But there's also some security considerations. So we're heavily regulated by all the governments.
Yeah.
There's security regulations in the airline industry all over the place. And when you're developing airline software, you've got to be very sensitive to the security element. And so outsourcing creates some operational challenges to where every single person that sees source code or touches source code, works on source code, has to be vetted. We have to go through an FBI background check for anybody here in the United States. The TSA has to sign off on everybody. Our corporate offices here, actually, it's the same security that you'd see like in an airport. So we are all badged from our local security TSA office. And so any guests have to be escorted. I mean, it's ridiculous. And so it does make outsourcing and, doing little quick one-off stuff a little challenging. So we try to not do it. We try to keep it in-house, but we do some of that. I guess that's a fair answer.
Yeah.
What's our tech stack? What's my favorite language? Oh, we have so much. So
Pig Latin.
I really like Korean. I think it looks really pretty.
So our primary development language right now is predominantly PHP based, but we've got Node. We've got obviously all the client side stuff like HTML5, CSS, JavaScript, all that stuff on the client side. And then the back end, our stack is either PHP or we've got some Node. We do have some older stuff that might be Python, and we've got some Lasso. We've got a lot going on. Once you develop for multiple years and you go through a lot of development teams, it gets a little bit chaotic. And we've got a lot of different applications. And so we have microservices layers. We've got back-end services layers that service, basically, we build our software for ourselves to be consumed by what's the best way to explain it in layman's terms? You've got the layer that the people interact with, like your website. And then you've got middle layers that interact with data. It's machines talking to machines. And then you've got storage. And there's volatile storage where it's data that we don't really care to keep. It might be session information. And then there's long-term storage, which is stuff that's critical. And then there's secure, like ironclad storage, where it can't be penetrated and it has to be encrypted and the keys have to change on a rotating basis, and that becomes a nightmare. So I guess that's probably the simplest way. I mean, it's way more complex than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty.
But it's
as if that
simply
wasn't complex
said,
enough.
yeah,
That's a tough.
Penguin 795. How much did I buy my plane for? I want to know because I'm 15 in the future. I'm looking at buying a Carbon Cub.
I kind of addressed that one.
Ooh, life goals. Pengy 795. Speak of my language. Hey, bro. Here's the thing. All of it. That's how much aviation is going to cost you. So it's a matter of priorities. I guarantee you, if you work towards it, you're going to be able to buy that Carbon Cub. It's just a matter of setting your priorities and being diligent and disciplined.
We have a video about that.
And lucky.
Go find a financial advisor, save up $200 a month with that guy. You'll have enough money to buy a plane in a decade easily.
Yeah.
Without doing any other hard work.
But that's really cool that you're 15 years old and already setting goals like that. I remember when I was 15, I had a lot of goals and aspirations, but they were a lot smaller, I think, than buying a Carbon Cub. I think it was like, hey, I'm going to finish school.
I think at 15 I was hoping to get a picture downloaded on the internet. When it would do the line-by-line load.
Right?
It's like, hopefully this will be done when I get home.
No, John, this is, I guess it's already been addressed, but this is Paris. He does look a lot like Creighton King, come to think of it.
Smells way different.
Yeah. One of them smells like elderberries. One of them smells like vanilla beard oil. Okay. Okay. So David Anderson says, "People first, the best management model." That's awesome. I started the business. So somebody asked about how did I get started in it. Gosh, that could be a really its own video. But suffice it to say, when I was in school, I wrote a business plan for a small airline, and then I turned it in, and long story short, it gathered some attention, and my instructor showed it to some people, and an airline in New Mexico somehow got a hold of it, and this airline hired me. And right out of, out of nowhere, I all of a sudden became the chief operations officer of a small airline that was flying a 207 at the time in New Mexico. And we migrated to Cessna Grand Caravans. And we were servicing a lot of the smaller communities surrounding Albuquerque, New Mexico. And one of the biggest problems that we had when we were running that little small airline, even with small Cessna Caravans, 9-seat airplanes, you'd think it'd be easy. But when it comes to moving 15,000 passengers a year with 2 9-seat aircraft, it becomes cumbersome if you don't have good systems. And so just to solve our own problem, and this is, 17 years ago or so, actually longer than that. It was 2001, so 19 years ago. The software didn't really exist to host a small airline. The large airlines had their tools, but they were outrageously expensive and complex and based on mainframe and midframe systems. They were largely text-based back then, and so you had to have terminal services and dedicated lines, and my head was going to explode. And so I, being a nerd, decided to write my own software to solve basic problems. The first issue was, we needed to report some data to the Bureau of Transportation Statistics, which every airline is required to report, things like passenger enplanements, seat mile numbers, the loads you carry, so that they have basic transportation statistics. And so that was a problem. Just gathering that information was complex. And so I wrote a small application to handle just that little reporting requirement. And then it kind of snowballed from there. We're like, well, we're gathering this data. We might as well put passenger names in it. Oh, let's build an e-commerce site on top of it. Oh, let's do this little study on whether it's more cost effective to burn fuel or brakes. In the Cessna Caravan in Albuquerque Sunport, our terminal was way on one side of the airport. And so if you land on one runway, you have like a 5-minute taxi time. Is the high idle and the fuel burn on the high idle in the Cessna Caravan in that PT6 more expensive than requesting a long landing and maybe burning brakes and burning less fuel? We found out through a little software application I wrote that burning brakes is far less expensive than fuel is.
Which is shocking.
So, which we ended up saving the airline, gosh, it was crazy. It was like $700,000 a year by telling the pilots to change the way they operate the aircraft. And so, believe it or not, behind the scenes, the airlines are crunching data and they're trying to do things to reduce costs and make things more efficient. We found that, with the Cessna Caravan flying IFR on airways on these short little 186 miles or less routes was very inefficient because you're flying these IFR routes. And so we changed it to where we would can our flight plans with the local FSDO VFR direct. And so they'd get up, and only if the conditions were IFR would they do an IFR. And so we were flying VFR direct as an airline at low altitudes in New Mexico, and it saved a ton of money. And, avgas is expensive, time on aircraft is expensive, there's a lot of considerations. And so little applications like that are just like, I geek out on stuff like that.
What's a VFR?
VFR is visual flight rules. It's good weather. IFR is instrument flight rules. That's bad weather. And so if you're flying in the clouds, you can't see the ground, you're IFR. If you're flying out and things are beautiful and you're looking at the mountains and the trees and the desert, that's usually VFR.
What's a FSDO?
A FSDO, FSDO, is a FAA Flight Standards District Office, and each region has one. And so they're the local FAA liaisons that assist you in your compliance requirement with your operations specifications and your FAA regulations.
I like it.
There you go. Has my software ever been hacked? Oh, shoot. Bro, if you could see our security logs, we have hackers hammering us right now. It is a huge issue. One of our employees focuses a lot on, and even Jason works in the security world quite a bit. Everybody's really uptight when it comes to security here at SkyVantage. We have had, we had a really big intrusion 5 years ago.
I wouldn't call that a hack, though. Somebody posted their login credentials online and they used those. That's not a hack, that's just access.
Yeah, we hit the light.
Oh my.
We have a timer on our lights, energy efficiency.
Oh,
perfect. Maybe not double.
I'm so efficient at clicking.
Just one. One and done, sir.
So what? Yeah, so we had one of our airline clients. He wrote some software to interface with our reporting system, and then he posted it on a GitHub repository, if I remember right.
I think so.
In his source code was his username and password, and apparently there's hackers watching GitHub. Who knew? And so they found his username and password and penetrated into our system that way. And by having access beyond our initial security layers, he got into our software, and it was a nightmare scenario. It was horrible. But anyway, yeah, we are constantly being attacked, and that is a big problem. Almost all businesses are being attacked, but the airline industry seems to have, that attractiveness to hackers, even though it's fairly innocuous data. But it just seems that hackers are like, oh, if I can get into an airline system.
Yeah, it's almost like a milestone to them.
Yeah.
If I can hack an airline, then I can, put that feather in my cap.
Yeah. We have, pretty good partners. We don't handle all of our security in-house because we can't be the the jack of all trades and the master of nothing. So we decide we're going to be really good at our sphere, and anything that we have a pretty good grasp. We try to become knowledgeable enough on it so that we're not completely ignorant, but we also know and have the humility to know when to outsource to somebody where that is their mastery. Right. And so that's something that's very much a part of our deal. Everything from the type of hacks, anything from data scraping, screen scraping, e-commerce sites. We have robots that are hammering our e-commerce platforms, looking and just reselling fare and schedule data of these airlines. That,
actually, on that note,
it's crazy.
If you're doing that, just email me. We'll give you access so you don't have to do it every day. You can do that, and we'll totally give you that data so you're not hounding the system.
So like, especially in like Europe or the Middle East, you've got these websites that want to resell airline information. And so they'll, rather than contacting us, they'll just screen scrape it off the e-commerce platforms, and it does a lot of searches and stuff. It's horrible for our systems. I think at one point we saw that like 90% of our traffic was bots.
Yeah, 90% was bots, and that's between the slow hours of 6 to 9, which is okay-ish.
Yeah.
But once you hit 10 o'clock, that's busy for us, and please stop that.
Yeah. So we've built an API, and we can give you access to it. The airlines actually want you to have access to their schedules.
We'd love to sell our stuff.
Yeah, we want people to be able to book, and so we do have an API, and we've made it super easy to do that. And I got to tell you, it's a lot easier as a programmer to develop with an API rather than screen scraping. It's terribly heavy and horrible, and so. So let's see. Miles is asking, where did you initially learn your computer skill set, Cory? Initially, I ran an online. So I go way back.
Basement. He means basement.
Way back.
Same
in my
place
parents'
everybody else
basement. When I was 15 and 16 years old, I ran a BBS. And if you're old, you might know what a BBS is.
British Broadcasting System.
No,
Ding, ding, ding.
bulletin board system. So
oh man,
back in the day before the internet, you could dial up with a modem.
There was
Holy
a time
cow.
before the internet.
How many people still have modems? And I'm talking like the old school modems. I started hacking systems and doing stuff when it was 14.4K was the speed. And so I had a shelf in my parents' basement full of computers. At one point we had 2 T1 lines into our basement, and we had I think at one point 56 nodes where 56 people could dial up into my parents' basement. It was kind of funny. I remember my dad looking at a phone bill one time, just seeing a phone bill, and it was like a couple $1,000s for T1 lines.
Ouchie.
And he was like, "What the crap? What are you doing, Cory? All this money?" I'm like, "Don't worry, Dad. I pay the bill every month. I've got users who pay me their $15 a month to access the BBS." And so, long story short, I've been doing it for a long time. Most of it self-taught. I have done some school, both code camps online, in person, and when I was at university, I also did a smidgen. But most of my education's in business administration and that kind of stuff. But I've been known to solve some problems in the software world. I'm not completely a dinosaur yet. So I think I go in and frustrate the developers more than anything else at this point.
That's what we all do. That's our joy. That's our bread and butter.
That's their joy or your joy?
No, that's our joy. They hate it.
Oh, that is so freaking awesome. All right, so let's see. Travis Lear worked for EDS back in the day. Sabre sounds somewhat similar, but obviously much older. Yeah, EDS is actually one of the applications I looked at in like 2002-ish when I was kind of contemplating writing our own software. But even EDS, Travis, was so expensive for a small airline. Let's say you're moving 2,000 passengers a month. That is a small number, and you can't afford a $15,000 a month airline reservation system. Yeah. And that's usually the entry-level price for just a basic module. And there are all these applications like Sabre and Apollo and WorldSpan and Galileo and all these big systems. They're all modular. And so this little component is this much money, and then they plug it into this little component, and that's that much money. Our model is quite a bit different. For one price, you get our entire suite. It doesn't matter if you use it or not. You have access to everything you need to run your airline. And I designed it that way on purpose. And I know it probably is costing us. We're leaving a little bit of money on the table because we only charge for passengers. For example, we don't charge for freight. It's just a bonus. We have a great freight module. It's fantastic. Spent a lot of money developing it. We keep it up to date. It's awesome. But we don't charge for it. It's just part of our application. We do have non-scheduled airlines that use our system. We have charter operators that use it. It's kind of like hitting a gnat with a sledgehammer, but hey, you know, our pricing goes all the way down to, I think our smallest clients only pay us like $500 a month if they're like teeny tiny. So it's not so ridiculously expensive that you can't run your business on it. We actually even had a university for a short period of time saying, hey, we're going to do a virtual airline. We can't find any software providers that will give us access to a system so that we can run a virtual airline for our students. And I'm like, absolutely, I'll give it to you. And so we had these college students basically running an airline inside of our system as if it was a real airline, but it was all virtual. So that was pretty cool. It was all, they actually set up flight operations in Microsoft Flight Simulator, or maybe it was X-Plane. I can't remember. I wasn't involved in that. But they were actually operating flights with pilots, and they were enplaning virtual passengers, and they used our software to simulate all that, and that was kind of cool. All right, David is saying, when we met at Flay Bob, we were playing with ADSB. Care to talk about that? And I need to come for a visit. So ADSB is an airplane surveillance system, is the way to dumb it down. It's a piece of hardware you can install in your aircraft that both receives data from towers on the ground and sends data to those towers on the ground. And it works with GPS. So you're receiving GPS data and then retransmitting that back to the ground as far as your location to these towers. But you can also receive traffic data on other airplanes in your area. You can also receive weather data and other data products. So it's really cool. And so my aircraft is fully equipped with this, and I was playing with it down at Flay Bob. And it's really cool technology. And I was able to do my panel very inexpensively, which is awesome. David Anderson's given us the Python look. I 100% agree. We don't have much Python anymore. I don't think we've messed around with it in years, but I know we're still running some stuff on it. Do we do HID security tagging products in our office? We build many of the government security devices for personnel. You know, the airline environment is very disposable. So when you print a boarding document, it's very expensive to embed HID or RFID technology in that. And so the airlines have elected to stick with, at least for now, barcode technology.
I think he's talking about for getting into the building, because you were talking about how we have badges when we come in. I think that's what he's talking about.
Oh, for like site security? We don't handle in our software any site security at all. Personnel security is not our cup of tea. Passenger security is our cup of tea. Now, for our own internal employees, we do have, you know, I carry around on my little keychain HID, key fob. And so embedded in there is my codes and whatever, and I access our building with HID. But yeah, our software does not interface with site security at all, other than passenger processing, and that's all handled with barcoding. Is that accurate?
We actually do some old security as well, the speakeasy window, where we have to verbally give a password to get in the building.
And a special knock.
A
special knock.
And I almost did it.
It's
Yeah.
completely hidden.
I mean, the Germans are all going back to the old stuff because it can't be hacked. I mean,
right, yeah. I mean, when in Rome.
Aubrey, I'm trying to answer your question. I don't know if you can see this in your chat, but that's where I got the shirt.
Oh, yeah.
I designed it.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute.
Woohoo!
We'll talk about that in a minute. Electrical engineering software discussions do get a bit old. How about this? Do you miss your Wilga? I presume you like Ghost much better. Let us know more.
Oh, there's differences. I mean, you can't really compare the two.
Yeah,
Right?
Paris actually helped me do one of the 2 engine changes I
Yeah.
did on the Wilga. Or maybe 3. I did 3 engine changes.
Yeah.
Because I went to the M14.
That's the one I did.
Then I went to the PF.
Yeah.
And then I did an overhaul and did another PF.
Mm-hmm.
So it went from 260 horsepower. Paris helped me to the 360 horsepower. Then we took the airplane down to Kingman, Arizona, and did 400 horsepower. And eventually then we did, the harness and everything, and like 440 horsepower, something with the Barrett injection and harness and everything. I miss certain things about the Wilga. For example, the sound.
Oh, yeah.
That Russian Venyadev engine sounded amazing. The M14 sounds freaking amazing. And that thing is whipping out. It just sounds so cool. And it does. The cool thing about it, at full throttle, it doesn't even sound like it's working hard. But it's just pulling you hard through the air. The thing had so much torque, swinging such a huge propeller.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Well, and I was there a couple times when you started it up, and I was just outside, and I can still hear it. It's like a and I'll carry that with me for the rest of forever.
That's the ringing in your ear from permanent damage.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, is that bad?
No, it's not. It's a memory.
It's a feature.
Always with you.
Oh shoot! As an employer, I just think workman's comp claim, lawsuit, shoot. I screwed up his hearing. Dang it! Where's the earplugs? I do keep earplugs in the office, and we don't even have airplanes here, just because of liability. So
I keep them in the truck because I learned from the Wilga, but the Ghost is much quieter.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's go. Never Hacker stuff. Love the t-shirt. Jason, Aubrey, you're awesome. Brian Beckman. Oh, Brian, you're awesome for joining. Nick Holmes. So Nick Holmes has a YouTube channel. So I'm going to, since I know he has a YouTube channel, if you're over on YouTube and you see him in the live chat, go ahead and click on his name. That'll take you to his page. You can hit subscribe and then come right back to the live feed. I'm sure he would appreciate it. He has a kit fox that he calls the Foxhound.
Ooh.
And I know that because he sent me a cool patch. That's awesome. So shout out to you, Nick. Appreciate what you're doing. Creating aviation content for us to enjoy. Oh, the days of BBS. Yes, believe me. It was a blah, blah, blah day. Cory, I need to ask, did you try Hum Modem Handshaking song at least once? That is the... I'm not quite sure what you're asking, but I actually, when I very, very first started, I had an old 300 baud speaker modem where you take the handset of the phone and set it on a microphone and speaker pad, and you could literally hear it going, and you could hear it. You never get away from it because it was on a regular phone. And so that was an old 300 baud, 300 bit. I don't know if bit. Byte. It was probably bit. Yeah. So 300 bit connection, which is super duper slow. People would frustrate themselves on that speed in today's day and age. So Brian's asking what other companies, mostly YouTube and film production related stuff, a little bit of, just some holding companies for different things.
You did the LED thing for a while.
I did start, so I've started a couple businesses that, we either sold assets or liquidated assets and things like that. So I did a LED aircraft lighting business that was, we stopped doing it in 2010, was when we sold the business, but I'll just suffice it to say that a lot of you guys flying around with LED lighting on your aircraft, especially the wingtip lights, were designed by this guy. So yeah, we did an aircraft lighting business a long time ago. I also did a vortex generator business. And so if you know what VGs are on the top of your wing, and some people put them on their horizontal stabilizer and other parts of the aircraft, they basically help the wind, the relative wind, or the airflow stick to the surface of either a lifting surface or a control surface, and helps prevent a stall. It creates a little vortex, which is wonderful. So I manufactured little vortex generators for a short period of time, and then the technology kind of took off, and rather than staying in the manufacturing business, which I don't really enjoy a manufacturing business, to be honest with you, it's not my thing. I know like Creighton King and the Patey brothers, they are heavily into manufacturing stuff, and I just don't really enjoy it. So the first opportunity I got to take an exit and sell that technology, I did.
It's because you have those dainty fingers.
Well, I just don't like manufacturing is so frustrating. Software is so much funner for me to get in and and I'm hands-on. Like, I can participate in all the parts of the process. Right. Manufacturing, once you've designed it, and then unless you want to own your own manufacturing, and we did injection molding for our VGs, those machines are like, I think the machine that we were injection molding our VGs was like a $700,000 machine. And when you're developing a product that each unit costs you, your profit margin is like a fraction of a penny, there's no way I could come up with that money to have in-house manufacturing. And so I just I don't have a taste for it as far as the manufacturing side. So I have done a couple, the LED lighting was fun. I did the engineering, but as far as manufacturing it, I just didn't really have the excitement. But a big LED company that still exists today purchased those lights, and a revision or a version of that is going on airplanes all over the world today, which is kind of cool. Miles is asking if I had to choose a Kit Fox or a Highlander. Oh my gosh, this is a fantastic question.
Highlander, because there can be only one. Right?
Elbow.
Am I right?
That's the best
Oh
answer
yeah, we're totally
ever.
practicing social. So that's a trick of the camera. When we just high five, we're actually 8 feet apart right now. Yeah, it's all a trick of the camera.
Here, give me your hand.
Oh yeah, right there.
Breathe it into your lungs.
Yeah, this is like 97%.
You're running it into your hair. There's some chili verde right
No,
here.
let me answer that question seriously. I've owned a Kit Fox 4. I've never owned a Highlander. The only Highlander that I've ever flown or flown in was Steve Henry's, so I'm a little bit
Spoiled?
spoiled. But they all seem to perform very well. Let me just be super, super candid. I would buy a Highlander. Plain and simple. I think that
Plain and
it's...
simple.
Get it? Bam!
But I'm cheating.
I'm here all week.
Try
Can't leave! Help us!
So the Highlander seems to have a little bit better performance. It's a little bit more roomy. But the fact of the matter is it just carries more weight and the performance is just unmatched. And I'm not saying... I mean, we're talking minutia here. They're both fantastic aircraft. You can't go wrong with either one. But if I was to put another airplane in my hangar and I was choosing between a Kit Fox or a Highlander, I'd go up to Wild West Aircraft in Idaho and purchase it from Mr. Steve Henry.
Oh yeah,
The Highlander.
When they're that close, it really comes down to customer service, and
Well,
Steve's a really good
Steve's
friend.
got it dialed in. I think he's built 7 of them. No, he's built 6. I think one of the Yeehaws was a Super Stol, which is the same manufacturer, but the Highlander, I just love them.
Highlander for the flaps.
Yeah. The flaps, and they have... I mean, it's just a great aircraft. And it's just, honestly, you're not going to go wrong with a Kit Fox either. But the Highlander's going to land shorter, take off shorter. It's going to carry a little bit more weight. And it's got a little bit more for a bigger guy. I'm 6 feet 2 inches tall. That's a big consideration. I could never quite get comfortable in the Kit Fox. Whereas the Highlander just has a little bit more space. And so if you're a smaller guy, let's say you're 5'10" or smaller, I wouldn't, size isn't really a big consideration. But for me, if my knees are sitting there at a 90-degree angle on a long flight, it just is like, oh, I can't stretch my legs out, and the Highlander wins. So
I think with the Kit Fox, it's nice to have somebody with you because I'm afraid of heights, and so you can just hold their hand while you fly, and that's big for me.
Oh, you like the side-by-side
Yeah.
thing? Yeah. That's not big for me. I have a Cub.
Get in the back, whine.
I almost said something really inappropriate. The passenger sits in the back. Get in the back, bro. I'm flying the airplane. Don't touch the controls. I actually removed the controls from the back seat. I want nothing to do with it. I actually did that when we were filming Fly With Me Fridays because I had a bad experience.
Great movie. Catch you.
Yeah, so during one of the Fly With Me Friday tapings, when I still had the control stick in the back of the airplane, a passenger, and they, I'll be completely kind to them. They accidentally grabbed the stick in a fear moment and
Added to your fear moment.
made a control input that nearly caused an accident. And so I just removed the stick. People can't be trusted.
That's very true.
Especially when you're just giving, people that have never flown before a ride. And so there's no amount of briefings that can overcome fear. And the reality of the situation is I just removed the controls from the back seat just for safety because I do enjoy giving people rides that have never experienced it before, and I just don't tape a lot of them anymore. But anyway, if I trust you, I might put the stick back in because it's a quick 5-minute change. Alrighty, let's go. Gosh, there's a lot of great comments.
And the airplane is a good airplane to own. Very true.
The airplane is a good airplane?
Any airplane is a good airplane to own.
Yeah, for real. There's a couple airplanes I wouldn't want you to own. That's a conversation maybe for members. So if you're over on YouTube or on Facebook, there's a little join button down below. Click that and you can learn about memberships. I do some private videos on there and maybe I talk a little bit more candidly, but I don't want aircraft manufacturers to all hate me for my opinions, so I'm not going to say it here. I'll say it over there. All right, so Spencer Anderson says, have the airlines have everyone fly with a Stormtrooper suit to complete with HVAC and HEPA filter.
Yep.
Can you imagine the cost? Like your $100 airline ticket, because those have to be disposable suits. Your $100 airline
Why
ticket
are they
just became
disposable?
$200.
I'm taking it
They don't
home.
have to be disposable.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a pillow, man.
So now it's a $1,000 airplane ticket for a 20-minute flight because you have to make a Stormtrooper suit.
I mean, it might be worth it.
It
It's a good suit.
Yeah.
Could be.
Yeah.
Like a shock trooper?
Quality,
I'd be down for
quality
that.
shoot.
Okay. Oh my gosh. Thoughts on Tri-Pacer? Tri-Pacer's awesome, Jake. My thoughts on it, you can't go wrong with the trike or the tail dragger. The Pacer is awesome. The Tri-Pacer's awesome. Fantastic aircraft. They're great cruisers. So if you want a bush plane that doesn't necessarily do super great on STOL, but you want to be able to travel with it, it's got a great cruise speed, a great flight envelope, good stall characteristics. I love the Pacer. It's a fantastic airplane. My buddy Creighton King has a Pacer in his hangar. I'm purchasing a plane next year. I hold you, Trent Palmer, and Mike responsible. Well, congratulations, my friend. That's great news. You're going to love it. It's definitely an addiction that is a good and bad. Now I need to know what manufacturers to avoid. Well, Brian Beckman, there's a little join button down below. I'll tell you. Well, I'm not trying to sell, but you know, gosh, now the manufacturers are going to be like, it's worth it. I'm going to buy a membership. Yeah. Screw the whole thing up. Oh, the Mangy Fox. Hey, Mangy Fox, how are you? Okay, what's your thought? Wood rib or metal in the wing? Oh, that's a tough question. I've seen them both stand the test of time. Really, it comes down to the quality of the craftsmanship. If you've got a factory-built airplane, you're probably really safe. If you've got a home-built, and then it's wood or metal. I've seen some crazy stuff inside covering.
I also enjoy a good boneless wing, so.
Oh yeah, boneless wings are nice. You don't chip your teeth. That's a good call.
Yeah, but it's usually white meat, and I'm really kind of a dark wheat meat kind of guy.
You're a wheat meat kind of guy?
Shut up.
I knew it.
You know I have problems with the words.
Don't make fun of his speech
Don't make
impediment.
fun of my speech impediment. I totally try.
I'm a wood rib guy, to be completely honest.
Yeah.
Wood is beautiful. If you've got a great manufacturer, I've seen wood ribs in Cubs. I've seen metal wings in Cubs. They're both good. It just really comes down to the quality of the craftsmanship on both sides.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think you're gonna be worried either way. If especially if you're buying an older airplane, it's already proven. You got an airframe that's got 2,000 plus hours on it. It's already proven. The covering is the thing that's going to degrade. The wing itself, if it was, especially wood, if it was prepped, painted, and preserved properly in the building process, you're definitely okay. I've never had any issues with either, and I've flown wood and metal wing airplanes as far as the ribs. Have I flown any Rutan aircraft or inspired by Rutan? The Long Easy, the Velocity? No, I've never flown personally. I've gotten a ride in a Velocity when I was a teenager. It was pretty awesome. A little scary pilot, but I don't really have any time in them, so I can't speak to their performance or flight characteristics, other than they do look really cool.
They look so cool.
They look really cool. And so I've always been kind of a fan. And I know my friend over at AOPA, Paul Harrop, really loves the EZs.
Really?
Yeah. He went to a EZ fly-in. Gosh, time flies. It might have been 18 months ago or a year ago. I don't know. But he fell in love, and he told me that that's one of his bucket list things is to own a long EZ. So
John Denver loved it enough to die in one.
that was more his fault, though. I mean, we got to be fair. It's not the airplane.
I know. I said he loved it enough to die in
It
one.
was
What is this?
it was a metric crescent wrench, I think. I don't know. I think it was a. No, I think he had a pair of locking pliers. That was his throttle quadrant.
Really?
Yeah, or some weird. I don't really remember. Gosh, it's been so long, but I think he was just poor decision making. Like as far as something's broken, the best way to fix it is with some locking pliers. Oh, my throttle works again. Some weird like that. I'm not quite sure what was going on.
We're not an
there.
authority on that, Death.
Holy cow, we got somebody on Twitch. What?
And they're spamming.
Yeah. What the heck is it saying? They're asking about. You know what? It probably says we're streaming on World of Warcraft on Twitch.
Oh, does it?
Because he's saying, is it World
Is
of
this
Warcraft?
World of Warcraft related? No, but we could talk about that.
This is a conversation of aviation proportions.
I'm
my
the
friend
worst
on Twitch.
shaman you've ever met.
Worst shaman ever. Yeah.
So I guess why would it say World of Warcraft? That's
That
weird.
is
I don't know
interesting.
what your Twitch is set up as.
Yeah, I don't do that on Twitch, but maybe we should.
We did do it one time, didn't we? We should have.
It's been years.
It has been
It's
a
been
while.
years. Yeah, so welcome you Twitchers. Thanks for joining us. We're talking about aviation stuff, just having a conversation here. Should we talk about the design stuff and the film production stuff a little bit? Let's get into that.
Sure, I'm just browsing the chat, trying to keep up.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, could
on
you
Twitch all of a
please not spam the chat? Because I am trying to respond to those, and it's super annoying.
Spam the chat.
So, he's like, I'm a Twitcher.
Let's talk about.
Is there a
some
difference
47s.
between a Twitcher and a tweaker? No, I'm sure there is. I'm sorry.
There's some overlap sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. We got to
Yeah.
keep going.
Okay, so Brian is talking about John. As long as he had a fuel tank switch that was more in the back seat, when trying to change tanks, he bumped the stick forward while trying to reach it from the front seat.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's really too bad. I heard something, Brian, about a
Lock line.
clamping something related to that. Maybe I'm remembering it wrong.
I mean, it could be anybody.
Most
People
likely.
make a lot of bad choices, and please don't do that.
Yeah. Okay. So, Paris,
Yo.
not only are you a customer relationship guru at SkyVantage, believe it or not, Paris does. So I actually have more ideas
I don't know why I didn't wear a shirt today.
than I care to count.
You didn't wear a shirt today?
Yeah.
We have an office rule. You
This
have
is
to wear a
painted
shirt.
on, so.
A fine job you've done, sir.
So I go to
Yeah.
Paris all the time with ideas, and Paris, I really love all those retro T-shirts that have the retro sunset. And this is like maybe
Yeah.
a week or two ago. And I said, can we make a few T-shirts that have that really cool retro sunset and put a cub on it? We need it to be awesome. And so he made this retro sunset T-shirt and maybe 3 other designs that are available on the Flying Cowboy
Very
store.
similar. So I just took the one and I just modified it. So I mean, it's nice to pump out some variations. And so the shirt over here, Cory threw out some ideas to me, and I just kind of looked up. I mean, there tons of people are doing the Corona shirt thing right now. So, but I decided to throw the mask on there at the last second for the skull,
This is the only mask
which
have
I
right
thought
now.
was brilliant. So go buy the shirt.
That's how.
But yeah, anyway.
Both Paris and Jason get, a little bit of money from the Flying Cowboy store. They're actually the only people that collect a salary from the Flying Cowboy
Oh!
store.
That time went way faster than the first
Maybe
time.
pull the sticker off so we
Yeah.
get the time.
That's hand manufactured, man.
I'm sure it is.
So yeah, so a lot of the designs are, some of them are completely Paris's thoughts, but a lot of the stuff, like I have, hey, I'm a really huge fan of Charles Lindbergh. Let's do a Charles Lindbergh themed shirt.
Who's that?
Some pilot dude.
See the guy that flies all by himself? Like a lot? Like all the time? Like 33 hours?
Smack him. Honestly, that is beyond party foul. Not knowing who Charles Lindbergh is. That is like
Oh, he's that guy they based Snoopy on,
he's
right?
a national
Right,
tre-
exactly.
Oh my gosh.
On the doghouse.
With
Yeah.
the 3, like,
The flowing stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, for Snoops, yeah.
Yeah, Travis, you're right. Jason,
is
if I was Donald Trump right now,
fired. Big oof. Nice.
Okay, so we do a lot of video production.
I know you, Chris.
Jason, why don't you talk about what you do here to help me? Because I gotta say, making YouTube videos, it's a
convoluted process.
Well, it's not like a lot of people think, oh, I'm just gonna go make a YouTube video. But if you want to have, editing and graphics and things like that, and then you do it in volume like we do, where we're doing a series or we do it for sponsors. Talk a little bit about the process.
Okay, we start by working up, we try to start by working up a concept. We want to tell a story, so we'll storyboard it, and we'll come up with some places we want to shoot from and angles we want to shoot from, and we'll collect all that stuff, and then we go out and we throw it out the window, and we just shoot what we want. Then we bring that back into the office.
I was waiting for him to say something like that, because I'm like, what the heck is he talking about? We don't plan a thing.
Then
we try.
We try. And we've done it before with the Savas video. You've seen them in the chat.
Yeah.
With their video, we did a lot of planning, and we got a lot of that incorporated, and I think that one turned out really well.
Yeah.
We threw out a lot of the footage, though, just because we did have a lot of really grandiose ideas, and we only had about 15 to 20 minutes of video time that we wanted to fill, and we had about
4 hours.
4 to 8 hours of footage. And so that's a lot to sort through. So just chucking stuff, big cuts. So to get back online, we'll have that plan. We go shoot. We bring all that footage back. Cory and I will take turns uploading it because it is...
We'll dump the footage. So we have a network server, a big, huge hard drive basically on our network.
A big lot of hard drives.
Yeah. It's a RAID, and it's like, I don't know, a huge amount of storage, which we always fill up.
Yeah, we just purged it again.
Yeah, we just purged it again, old stuff. And, when you're recording in 4K, when you're filming in 4K, a lot of our stuff is 100 megabit 4K footage. And so those files are just gigantic.
Ginormous. Huge.
And we store all the raw stuff on our network attached storage. But when we're editing, we bring a little portable drive to facilitate just faster data transfer and, during the editing process.
Well, and plus we can, hey, I gotta go. Yours.
Yeah, David or Jason does a lot of the rough cutting, and I do a lot of the finish work. But often Jason will just do it all because, he likes doing it.
I'm fast, is why I do it. But yeah, you take the rough cut. You just you get a story going. You want to tell a story, but we have people who like to watch flying, so you got to work enough flying into the videos because that's really the pretty part. This is not the pretty part. Just your face. I mean, your shirts are great. Thanks, Paris.
I connect with that.
But his voice is really what I think a lot of you... I mean, you can say in the comments, is that what you enjoy? Because you're talking directly to the editor.
I do get a lot of people... one comment that I got yesterday from my buddy who runs the Experimental Aircraft channel. He said, my secret weapon is voiceover.
Oh, yeah.
And we've never done voiceover.
We've never done voiceover.
That's not 100% true.
Well, okay, yeah, that's a good point, because on a few recent ones there have been, not the whole video. He does the whole video's voiceover. We've done, here's a portion, we've done a little video here, where there's been some voiceover.
Or we get back in and, there's no audio
there's no audio, so we better say something. Right.
Right.
But no, we've never gone into a video saying, hey, let's just do this whole thing, and then we'll just do voiceover in post, so...
I've thought about doing it just as, would you guys like to hear my voice more? Because I can describe a little bit more of what's going on in the cockpit, because Cory's busy flying the aircraft. I can actually talk and tell you what's...
Oh, that's a fun point.
Yeah.
So a lot of you guys think, I get a lot of comments that, hey, you're flying around alone a lot of the time. So let me tell you a little secret. Most of the time, I'm flying in my airplane, Jason's hiding in the back behind me. And so you'll see on some videos maybe the side of his head here behind me. So we lowered the back seat of the airplane a little bit so that he can hide back there. And I don't know why we did that. I don't know if you just don't want to appear on the videos or you want it to seem like a lot.
Well, if you think this is bad...
I don't think that's bad. But it's kind of funny, though. A lot of people are like, man, you're operating all these cameras and you're distracted and you're unsafe, man. Well, I got to be honest with you. I'm not a magician. I don't do it all. Jason's back there running a lot of the camera work. When we film a Fly With Me Friday, I literally do nothing except focus on
Comfort of the passenger.
The passenger safety elements and
Air in the
operating
sky.
the aircraft, and then and then we have a little cue card that I put on the panel for questions in case I brain fart or something and I can't think of anything to say to the passenger, because I really try to do those Fly With Me Fridays as like an interview and ask questions that you may find interesting. And I also try to connect with the passenger and become friends and explore aviation concepts and do a little education. So I need the cue cards because, quite frankly, when you're flying an airplane, it's so easy to focus on the airplane and not be able to communicate. So I need all the help I can get from that perspective. But Jason is so absolutely instrumental, especially our local shoots. When I'm off traveling a lot, I'm on my own a lot, and so most of the footage gets terrible. So you see on like the Bahamas series, most of that was filmed from my cell phone.
Which came out awesome, other than the muff.
Because I just really try to keep it as simple as possible when I'm traveling, because I don't want the added complexity of GoPros everywhere, or we've got a cinema camera, the vlogging camera, we've got the gyros and all the things. We just try to keep it as simple as possible. So if I'm traveling, I usually will just film with my phone, but if I'm local or Jason's traveling with me, he handles all the magic. Paris also helps out with a lot of the rough cuts sometimes too. If we get a backlog of footage and we don't want to forget about something, we'll say, hey Paris, can you do a rough cut as well? I know you did a lot of editing work on the Bahamas series as well.
Yeah, a lot of the earlier stuff I really helped out with, especially in the first 2 years, for sure. But a lot of the stuff I do now is the thumbnails.
Yeah.
And so the thumbnails that you see on YouTube, I go in, I watch the video, I say, hey, that scene looks good. I pull that out, throw it into Photoshop, and then I'll just come up with the title and try to make it look good. And it's got to look good at this size.
And it's going to look good at this size.
Yeah, I mean...
So it shows up on... So, gosh, there's so much to doing a thumbnail. You have to design it from TVs to computers to handheld devices and everywhere in between. And so it's just got to be, it's almost like a fishing lure. If you want to go fishing and you're just casting your hook in with no bait, you're going to be not very successful. So, like for example, when people like Nick Holmes contact me and say, hey, I'm not getting any views on my YouTube channel, the first thing I'll look at is I'll look at their channel and I'll look at two things. I'll look at their thumbnail and then the title of their video. Because those are the two things that are going to attract people to your video.
That's your lure,
and that's
your
really
hook.
That's really all you've got. And I'll be honest, we're not super great at it, but that is something we're focused on, trying to help other YouTubers grow along with ourselves, is getting better at those. And Paris, you've been super awesome at the thumbnails. I love how, like, lately we're getting into, my head is slightly bigger on them.
Not big enough.
Well, we
looks
found
like
out
a
that
jab character,
being consistent with the thumbnails, I think, is a big portion of that identity. So if somebody sees that common theme on the thumbnails, they're going to be like, oh, I've seen this guy's video before, I want to watch it again.
Right.
Instead of having just some
Or the
random image
opposite.
up there. Yeah.
If you don't like my videos, I don't necessarily want you to keep coming back and hitting that thumbs down.
Right.
And so that's why we've gone with, as far as all the aviation videos, I think we're the only one that pretty much has me with my big head, because you enlarge my head like 20% or something.
Yeah, that's about right.
On all of them. And then kind of maybe do a white outline around me, then with the background. And that's kind of our thing, how people can visually recognize a Cory Robin video. And that's calculated. That's on purpose. And so if you're planning on doing any kind of YouTube content, maybe kind of figure out what your thing is. Maybe reach out to us. We're happy to help and brainstorm with you.
Yeah, for sure.
The whole thing is we all grow together, and we want to see aviation penetrate the marketplace, so to speak, and get as many people that are not already into aviation exposed to it. And so, as we're thinking about what videos that are coming up or what we want to shoot, we want to focus more on people that are not necessarily already excited about aviation, but we also don't want to alienate people that just love our aviation stuff. So we're trying to find that balance. And I'm out of all the people that I'm aware of, I'm pretty willing to try anything. I'm even willing to take my shirt off and post a video that everybody hates and then pull it down.
Yes,
Okay,
that's been
got a couple of questions. Miles is asking about helmets in aviation. My opinion, absolutely
Viking,
awesome.
to begin with, that's the
Yeah.
best.
Are you talking horned or like
I
actual
like,
classic?
I like the old
Horn.
German military PIF helmets with the spike.
Oh,
on
that's
the top.
gone right through your plaques though.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
those are cool.
They are cool.
They're very protective. I don't know if I'd want to take a bullet
No.
in a helmet. That would hurt. Probably ring my bell pretty good.
Your helmet that you wore for Stoldrag is actually quite cool.
Yeah, so
Actually, yeah, that was
Yeah.
pretty cool.
So
I
stay
like that.
tuned. One of my sponsors is developing a new helmet. It's going to be absolutely the best helmet on the market because that's just how these guys roll. And I am told, guys, if you're watching, come on, I'm quadruple crossies. Like how many? I can't crossy anymore. Send me a helmet so I can announce it. When can I announce the helmet? Quit texting me with all this exciting stuff that I can't talk about. That's as raw and as real as it gets. I definitely recommend a helmet, especially flying in the backcountry. I don't wear a helmet all the time. If I'm just cruising from point to point and I'm not doing anything really super high risk, I'm not going to ride around with a helmet all the time. But if I'm going into a high risk landing or a takeoff or anything that I consider, like if I'm flying over like crazy terrain and I'm worried about it, like as soon as this virus thing's over, I want to go up to Alaska. I'm gonna bring a helmet, and if I'm going through a crazy misty fjord down in the the southeast end of Alaska,
That's Viking helmet territory.
definitely
Yeah.
gonna be wearing a helmet. I am a poster child for helmets because of the incident that I had where I cracked my head open, had a skull fracture.
You guys want to see some gross pictures?
No, don't, no. But yeah, helmets, they're very good. I hate to tell you to go buy a helmet right now. Hold on. There's no reason to buy a helmet right now if you're not flying because I've got a great sponsor of our channel that's developing a helmet and I really want to announce it, but come on guys, let me announce it, please, for the love of... I'm going to send him a text right now. Oh,
Do
my
it.
phone's doing the
We
broadcast.
should.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, we'll give you some news and I'll follow up on the whole helmet thing. I'm going to do a full dedicated video on helmets. I know my friends over the Stole Rats, Project Kit Fox here, or over on YouTube, did a series on how important helmets are, and we're going to jump on that bandwagon because helmets are super important.
Can I answer a couple questions?
No.
You may.
So Travis Lear asks, what's the software we use for editing? We use Premiere Pro. It's awesome. Corey, when he was in the Bahamas, was actually doing some stuff on his phone.
Well, when I was in the Bahamas, the easiest way, so I didn't do any of the editing of the videos.
But
in
you
the
would
Bahamas.
timeline it.
So what I would do is I would take all the little clips that I recorded on my phone, and Adobe makes a, what's the app called? It's called Adobe Cut or something. It's Adobe's mobile Premiere Pro version.
Yeah.
And
what
all
is
I
that?
would do, so I would only have to send him one file, and things were in order, so he wouldn't have to go like, oh my gosh, I'm getting 50 files from Corey. I don't even know the chronological order. So all I would do is I would create a timeline and just drag all the clips that I took in chronological order as one big, long, 2-hour-long video, and then I would push that to the cloud for him to edit.
And that was awesome. That made it
And so
really
it,
easy.
it optimized our process. While I'm remote, that's what I'll do is I'll send him just one big timeline, and then he can cut it and edit it and put music on it and do titles and all the things here with better tools. Because when I'm on the road, well, back then I didn't have a really nice MacBook Pro.
Yeah,
Like
no.
last year, Slow and Low, I was editing on Premiere Pro
Yeah.
on the fly.
And I was using this at
Yeah.
Reno Air Races. It was great to have.
Yeah.
Favorite surface mount 4K camera?
A surface mount?
What camera are we using on the airplane?
Oh, on all of my YouTube videos now, especially the last several, I'm putting a purchase link for the specific camera that I use because I do get that's one of the biggest questions that we get asked is what camera are you using? It looks fantastic. I've gotten completely away from GoPros out of absolute frustration.
Yep.
Not because of the quality of their filming, but the software they use is so buggy, and I have lost so much time and lost really good footage.
Really good footage.
Because I thought they might have been capturing and they weren't. You can't plug in like an external power source and have it run off of that. It has to drain the battery first and then it'll die. It's just, there's so many weird frustrations with GoPros. And even the Sony cam I tried for a little bit, the little Sony 3000 thing.
Oh
I
yeah,
don't
I
know.
forgot about that.
Yeah, but we've tried almost everything out there. But DJI makes right now, I think, which is the best action camera. It's the DJI Osmo Action. And if you just go to any of my videos, I think it's right near the top. There's a purchase link where I'm actually an affiliate now, where I get like 5% if you end up purchasing through that link. It doesn't cost you anything. Maybe there's a discount you get. I don't know. I can't remember. But that's by far and away the best action cam right now. I'm really hoping in the next little while we get an action camera with like a 1-inch sensor, so for better low light and a little bit better megabit, little bit data. I want more data so that I can do better color correction.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, we want to just fill up our hard drives with this data. But you know, my thing is I just want as high quality raw footage as possible so I can do the color correction and I can process it, maybe do some zooming and things like that. And so, gosh, we're talking to. Should we talk about some of the exciting stuff that we might be working on?
Just to segue better into that would be, Brian Beckman asks, are you planning any 360 filming?
Oh,
well then. Yes.
that's exactly where I was going.
Yeah.
So
I mean, we can broad stroke it.
very, very broad
Yeah,
strokes.
okay.
So Jason and I went to a meeting at a company here in Utah that manufactures that manufactures 360-degree planetarium screens, and they have a new screen coming out probably in 21.
I have no idea. I wasn't paying attention to
Probably
this
late 20, which is not projector based. And so the 360-degree planetarium screens that you see in like science centers and planetariums,
casinos.
and even IMAX technology.
They are.
They make those screens. They don't make the cameras. They're usually using like red cameras with a fisheye lens and things like that. But they reached out to me for reasons. And said, hey, would you like to produce some content for 360-degree
This is less than broad strokes.
dome screens? How much weight can your aircraft carry on your camera mount? And so we're working out all the details right now, but I'm so excited that we may actually be producing a full-length feature.
Wow, not broad strokes at all.
Is this really?
I don't know. I mean, we tease it a little more.
That's all I'm gonna say, because
Yeah,
Jason
there we
is
go.
more. He read the legal agreement stuff, and I'm just the creative idiot.
So Brian, yes.
Yes, bro.
But we're not gonna do. One thing I don't like, and we've seen a lot of people post these 360 cam shots that just look like action cam shots, and then they'll pan it, and it's really cool. But me, I can't stand it.
I love it.
He loves it. I can't stand it.
I think it's kind of cool.
I dig augmented reality. I dig virtual reality. This is the future. Bring me all that weird camera stuff. More footage, the
But
better.
I just don't like the fisheye look, and it warps everything, and it makes me nauseated.
Oh yeah, that's for sure.
I guess they're feeling there's 5K, so there's 5,000 pixels, right? Is that what 5K means? More than that. It's way more than that.
At least 8.
So the whole 360 degrees is 5K, but I record in 4K in a little teeny box facing forward, and so the quality's much better when you're not doing a 360 degree cam.
Lost you. Sorry, Randall.
All right, we won't talk about that anymore.
Oh, I want to give credit where credit's due. I don't hear music well, so a lot of the times when I'm editing, I'll pick music, and then I have to bring in Cory and Paris to actually finesse.
Something's happening. Oh,
I'm going to send that call to
I
voicemail.
have to finesse the audio
That's
bits
it.
because I don't hear good. So thank you guys for helping me with that, because that is a big part of editing, syncing up audio to visual.
Oh.
And that's something I need you guys for a lot.
And the reason why the audio quality in our last maybe 10 videos has gotten like dramatically better is the DJI Osmo action camera.
Oh yeah, that great input.
Because the GoPros were horrible at capturing audio. They do okay, but the leveling, like they'll overmodulate. So basically what you have when you capture sound is you have certain volumes. And the GoPro's not very good at adjusting volume, so you can go in there and manually say, I want to adjust my volume. But in an aircraft environment, you've got a wide array of different volumes and tones of sound, and it's really a difficult environment to capture quality audio. And I gotta tell you, the DJI Osmo Action Camera is by far the best audio capture solution we've stumbled upon. It was by accident. We actually even went to an external dedicated audio capture unit, which is somewhere here. But we've completely gotten away from that because the Osmo is just so fantastic.
Although I would like, as an audio producer, to keep that for a backup. But we've not had a problem with DJI.
Screw it.
To be fair.
We literally have not had a single problem.
No.
But
it's working. It works every time.
when GoPro worked, it did work, and then it didn't.
Yeah, which was really strange. It was
GoPro
was fine in our earlier stages.
The only time it stopped working was when we needed it for passengers.
The only time it stopped working was like 80% of the time.
Yeah.
It sucked. I hate it.
Or sometimes we put the audio and not the video. That was
well,
nice.
how many Fly With Me Fridays did we end up having to push up with no audio?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it was just like, And so then we went with the redundant solution, which captured crappy audio, and now we've got a great audio solution, which is fantastic. On my YouTube videos, there is a link to my Amazon store. A lot of people ask about how am I capturing audio. It's a simple cable that I plug into my 1/4-inch jack on my audio panel, and it's on my Amazon store. It takes the level of output from the 1/4-inch audio panel, reduces it down to a line in input, and I just plug that directly into the camera. Simple. And so that's on the Amazon store, and I think it's only like $12. And so if you really can't find it, or you can't find my Amazon store, which should be pretty easy, I have links in all my YouTube videos. It's super cheap, super easy, and it plugs right into the 1/4-inch headphone Aviation headset jack in your panel. And so if you've got an intercom system, perfect. It's already providing the audio you need. You handle your squelch and your volume right there on your audio panel, and then the cable reduces it to a line input like butter, and it's amazing and super easy.
And just to get a little more technical, when we're doing subtitles, which you guys should totally check out if you speak other languages, the software that YouTube uses to analyze voice and get the text, it went from about 40% accuracy with the GoPro to about, I'd say 70 to 80% accuracy now with the DJI. And it's, and that saves us a ton of time in editing.
So speaking of subtitles, we've started to see our fan base go multilingual. And so one of the things that we're doing now is we're doing titles, descriptions, and then video captioning in 5 languages, including English?
Well, six with English.
7 total.
7 languages?
Total, including
wow.
English.
So we're doing German, Hindi,
Korean,
Portuguese,
Russian,
Spanish,
and
Russian.
And that's it.
And so those are, so we've gotten a lot of people. We might start doing like Ukrainian.
We did one in French, but that was because somebody already started it.
Yeah, we're just getting a lot of fans and a lot of people on Instagram sending me messages in different languages, and I use Google Translate to talk to them, and it's really kind of fun to see the global reach that YouTube has. And so we're catering to that at least a little. And who knows, in the future we might actually, I might actually memorize some lines, you know, for maybe opening and closing for multiple languages. But it's really kind of cool to see.
We can just do hello. That's easy.
Hola.
Guten Tag.
¿Cómo estás, Fernando? Oh, wait, that's
¿Dónde está la biblioteca?
I don't speak any languages, but it's really kind of cool to see, and actually really humbling, you know, when people reach out from like Israel or Russia or, you know,
You guys in the Middle East, even.
yeah, the Middle Eastern guys. Yeah, that's why we're
Surprising,
India.
India,
Like this,
yeah.
So this organization in India wants to fly me out there. They want to take my airplane apart, put it in a container, send it to India. I go out there a few weeks later, we assemble the airplane, and I do a tour around India, all paid for by this organization.
Let's do it.
And wow, how cool would that be?
That would be.
And so we're looking at doing that in the spring, or maybe the winter. This next winter is going to India and doing a tour. But who knows with COVID, everything's off the table. All the discussions have stopped, but that would be like, wow. I'm kind of trying to find an airplane that's maybe closer to India that I can borrow. Maybe Cubcrafters
That would
can
save
help
a lot
out
of
with
time.
that, but because taking my airplane apart doesn't sound super exciting.
And plus all the peanuts we'd have to get out of it.
Yeah.
Oh. So Brian wants to control the camera while he flies, so he can look at what he wants during flight. Yeah. I agree, Brian, but the quality is just not there yet with the 360 cameras. I think once you get up to like 8K, I might start doing it.
Well, and we talked about just putting one up and just running it, and then having a separate channel for those vids. I think that'd be cool. I would watch those.
The 360 footage?
Nudge. Yeah, just do it, but no
Kind
audio.
of like how we do our relaxation thing?
Yeah, exactly like that.
Huh. Just do a 360 channel of
heck yeah.
just
Of relaxation.
Yeah, that would be cool.
That would actually be kind of cool.
There's an idea for sure.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing also. I mean, we've done so much forward camera, non-360 stuff, and you've seen some of the shots we've got, Brian. Just point your aircraft at awesome stuff and just roll. I mean, it's going to come out awesome. I mean, because...
No, he's talking, he wants to control
He
the
wants to be
camera
able to
while he's watching.
pan.
Oh, he wants to... oh, well...
Like we did for that Spanish
Like
work
what
flight.
we talked to the guys at the
a
company.
place.
They wanted to be able to,
Yeah.
for educational purposes in the 360-degree dome, they want people to be able to go like that and be like,
Okay.
wow. Because their dome is sick, dude.
Well, I like looking at the
beautiful.
like when you have a 360 cam. I like moving my phone around and looking like a weirdo in public. I think that's really cool.
It is cool.
I mean, and I do not like the stitching where you can see where it's overlapped, and I think it's going to grow, and I think it's going to be better.
The quality I'm just so not about it right now. I mean, if we were, like, our problem is we're producing 4K content.
Yeah.
I think if we
Yeah.
were producing HD or even 1080.
Well, 720 would
Yeah.
save us the space.
Yeah. Well, we'd still have to have a 5K
Yeah, it would
file,
it'd still be huge.
it'd be still 720 box, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just kind of hoping that the technology improves a little bit on these off-the-shelf cameras. I know that like Insta360 does have a commercial grade camera, but we're talking like 15 grand to buy a camera, and ain't nobody got the money for that.
Travis wants you to do a backcountry landing in Tibet, and I am all for that. What's your altitude restrictions? Is it below 3,500?
3,500?
1,000?
Tibet's really high country.
It really is. That would be some great content.
I think
man.
that in the Himalayas is where that the piston high altitude landing and takeoff record is currently held. Like,
Really?
It was like 18,000 some odd feet by a Pilatus Porter, but the piston version
That's
did a
cool.
takeoff at like 18,000 something feet. It's in the Guinness Book of World Records. But I would honestly the air is so thin up there that your ground speed is ridiculously fast. That is some sketchy, dangerous stuff. Anything, I start to wig out anything like around 10,000 feet. I start to be very careful. Landing at Tavaput's Ranch, for example, they're a 10,000 foot strip, and you definitely notice. I'll look down at my GPS, on approach, and I'm like, holy crap, I'm doing 70 miles an hour over the ground. My airplane thinks it's doing 42. It's like, oh, it's scary. So, I mean, there's a lot of safety considerations. That's how I crashed my Wilga, is doing a high altitude, high risk, stupid, dumb thing. And it was completely my issue, my fault. But yeah, I'm a little scared of high altitude landings, just to be honest. Okay.
Oh.
Well, you can go if you need to.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just didn't want to
Take off, eh?
scooch yous. Actually, right now. So, hey, thanks, guys. It's super great to talk to you.
Jason's going to take off. He's got some contractual obligations with a...
I'm getting a roof.
Yeah, he's
Who
getting
knew you needed one of
a
those?
new roof done on his house. Which, how is that an essential service? Oh, man.
Juan said it was safe, and I believe Juan. Juan's roofing, everyone, if you're in Utah.
Juan's roofing.
Thanks for coming, Jason.
It sounds fake,
Scoot
but
over,
I think it's
scoot
real.
over a bit here. So is there anything else we wanted to cover?
The new store, please.
Oh, the new store on YouTube.
Teespring.
Yeah, Teespring.
So we've launched a new merchandise store on Teespring that's directly linked to YouTube. So on YouTube, as you're watching a video, you'll see a merchandise shelf. It's brand new. We haven't had a single sale on it yet that I'm aware of.
No, we
Because
haven't.
we launched it on like the 2nd of April. I don't know if people are just kind of ignoring it because everything's on the Flying Cowboy store. But there's going to be some changes to the Flying Cowboy store coming up soon, where all the creators like Trent and everybody are creating their own store, and so I'm creating my own store as well. And then on the Flying Cowboy store, it'll just be Flying Cowboy stuff. and there will be no creator stuff on there. So if you still want all the crazy designs, you're going to want to do that.
And you do.
Is there a link to the store that we know of?
Yes, Jason posted it in the chat somewhere.
Okay. So, yeah. So, like, you can look at the merchandise preview as you're watching a video, and I think you can even purchase merchandise inside, if you're on a mobile device, inside your YouTube app.
Oh.
Which is really kind of cool, I think. But this is all beta, all new stuff that YouTube is doing, so please check that out.
Check it out.
Let us know if it works. If it sucks, let us know too, and we'll take it down. It's just all an experiment. We're trying to support YouTube's new features.
Mm-hmm.
I like to be an early adopter. And there's not very many channels. I know a lot of channels are doing the merchandise shelf, and so we're trying it out. So if you don't mind, check that out and let us know if it's interesting. Also, if you have any design ideas, email us.
Yeah.
Our email address is on the About section on YouTube, or you can message us on Twitter, over on Facebook. And if you have an idea for a shirt or whatever, I mean, we'd love to have it. We're trying to constantly put up cool things, and the only reason why we really do the merchandise is to provide you guys with the stuff that you want. Boy, we're spending money doing it, I think, a lot of the time, but it sure is fun to create the merchandise for you guys, and it's off and on people buy it, which is great. That's fun. All right, more questions. Why is it that STOL pilots are not doing aerobatics? The biggest reason is the aircraft capabilities. Mm-hmm. STOL airplanes are typically built to go super, super slow and have high lift, like airfoils that look like a letter D laid on its side. That's not really conducive to very good aerobatic performance. My Cub will do a roll, it'll do a loop, but really, who wants to do a lumber, an awkward loop or an awkward roll? If you're going to do aerobatics, do it in an aerobatic airplane. I used to own a Pitts S1S, and I've done plenty of aerobatics. I used to do aerobatic competitions. Wasn't good at it, but I did it. Aerobatics is fun. It's just a different world, and I encourage it. It makes you a really good airman. It teaches you the flight envelope like nothing else will. But Backcountry does it as well, but at a different, behind the power curve stuff. Aerobatics is awesome. I think a lot of STOL pilots do aerobatics. I know several on Instagram post both backcountry stuff, and then they'll go jump in a laser or a decathlon or a Pitts or something and have a lot of fun doing acro. Right? Yeah. Super fun.
Absolutely.
Nice chat video. Hope to be back soon. Web address for the store. Daniel, go to youtube.com/flycory. To see the merchandise shelf, because it's all embedded right into YouTube. There's no secret special place for it. If the Teespring store, if we end up liking the Teespring store, we're going to deploy it on CoryRobin.com. That's where the future store ultimately, or a portion of it, will reside. There's nothing there now, but ultimately it'll be on CoryRobin.com. But right now, go to youtube.com/flycory or flyingcowboys.com/Cory. And Jason is messaging it. If you can point the camera outside, it's apocalyptic. I guess the weather's going nuts. I can hear it. It is going crazy. But I have sound panels on my window because the little highway outside is very loud, and so I can't open my window and look out because, yeah. Hi, Louisiana. Those of you just joining us, I think we're kind of wrapping up.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean,
we have had a great discussion. We covered a lot of different topics.
And I think we could keep talking for quite a while, to be honest. I mean, do you guys like this format? I mean,
just the Q&A, something to do. I mean, it's COVID. Everybody's cooped up, and we're just trying to give you what you deserve.
What's that, New Hampshire? Yeah. Louisiana? Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to go flying. That's one thing that is kind of fun that I might do is I do these slow and low trips. Like, let's say, for example, Oshkosh gets canceled, which would be horrible. I think in lieu of Oshkosh, I'm going to do a nationwide tour in my airplane, a social distancing tour, and just meet up with people that watch the channel. I hate using the word fans because I don't really feel like I deserve fans, but people that follow.
Yeah.
Because I'm just no different than any of you guys. I got to be honest. It's just silly to have people call you a fan. But hey, let's meet up. So go ahead and feel free to message me on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube. If you go to the About tab on my channel page, my email address is listed there. You got to put in a little code, an anti-robot thing that Google does to get access to my email address. But feel free to message me and let me know where you're at, and if you want me to look at your location as part of the tour, especially if there's anything cool to see or film, or there's something unique. You know, for example, I wanna go back to where I picked up my airplane. Actually, that little airstrip that did those World War I. It's a little grass airstrip in upstate New York called gosh, I'm having a brain fart. But it's it's on the Hudson River almost, but north of downtown Manhattan, maybe by 30 miles ish.
It's that one place.
But it's a really awesome little World War I. They got all this history there. Crap, I can't remember the name of it, but I picked up my airplane there. I want to go back there and kind of, tour the Northeast a little bit more and go, the Midwest and the South, and heck, I might be out of town for a month this summer doing that stuff.
And then we have Miles saying, fly in New Zealand.
I'd love to come to New Zealand. Best flying in the world. Well, I'm going to have to reach out to you guys and see if there are, maybe Cubcrafters has demo planes with sales reps down there, and they might be willing to get me an airplane or something.
That would be
like they did up in Alaska. That
excellent.
was awesome.
Ideal.
Silly for You's at my home airport.
Yeah, U-42.
Have we met? Silly for You? I don't recognize the name Silly for You.
The handle, yeah.
Yeah, but if you ever see me out there, I'm in row E of the T hangars. And feel free to come say hello if you ever see me there. I'm happy to say hi to anybody. That's awesome. Old Rhinebeck.
Yeah, Rhinebeck.
There you go. Thank you. It is Rhinebeck. That's the one I'm talking about. I actually took delivery of my Cub there from the guy who built it through a Cubcrafters dealer because, I heard about it and I just wanted to see the aerodrome. I took a tour of the museums and, it was so awesome. I want to go back. I was there on a day that the weather wasn't super great, and so they weren't flying any of the airplanes. I just want to see one of those old rotary engines fly. World War I aviation is a super interest of mine. I just think it's fascinating, those guys just strapping themselves to these really basic machines with just crazy engines on them. So yeah, amazing content. I also I've never been to Kill Devil Hill. I've never seen the Wright Brothers Memorial. I've never seen any of that, so I want to go there as well. And there's a lot of little sites and a lot of people I want to meet up with. Like I've got paramotoring friends down in Florida that I want to meet up with. The Aviator paramotor crew. They've invited me down there to take a paramotoring class, and so I want to do that. And so
there might be a lot
cool
of aviation that you could hit that people just don't know about.
Right.
That there's a story there to let people know.
Well, I also
this is part of our history here.
Yeah, I've also wanted to always do the Spam Factory because the founder of the Spam Company was a pilot. And so I want to do the Spam tour.
Spam. Tell your friends.
I want to go see the Spam Factory. Nobody else likes Spam? I mean, come on, it's really yummy. No?
I actually like it.
I like
Spam and mac and cheese, man. That's the best.
Yeah, it's good. I make Spam sandwiches.
Yeah.
It's so good.
And it's shelf stable for a long time. So, if everyone's out of a job for a long time, Spam. Put it on your shelves.
So Kevin is actually talking about Niagara Falls. And so we actually were negotiating with the Tourism Bureau in both Canada and the United States to do a film, not a film, but basically record some footage near Niagara Falls, and it's all on hold because of stuff and things. But that's definitely on the table. Niagara Falls is awesome. A lot of cool things in that area.
A lot of people have great ideas.
Yeah. Thank you so much for all these awesome ideas. This is fantastic. So fun. And we want to also, meet and interview a lot of aviators because there's a lot of great stories. So if you have a great aviation story or a family member or a friend who's got a story they want to tell, I'd love to utilize my platform to tell it. Be very, very, very cool to I just love, my favorite thing about aviation, aside from the flying, is all the people, and so that's the element that I want to focus more on as I deliver content is, hey man, there's so many awesome people doing some amazing things. I mean, I met a couple of years ago this flying therapist named Jolie Lucas. I don't know if you follow her, but you really should, especially over on Twitter. I think she's got a really great Twitter feed, but she's a mental health professional, and she's a AOPA advocate, and she travels around and gives talks, and she's just super motivational, and she covers such a wide variety of topics that it's always fresh and interesting. And people like that just need to be showcased, and their story needs to be told, because they're doing such amazing things at every level. And so people like Jolie and people like that, I'm just really excited about telling their story. And I love the stories about people overcoming odds, and I was told a young man approached me at the Livermore fly-in. It was an AOPA fly-in that we did a stole thing there, and he came and said, hey, I watch your videos, and I got to tell you, you motivated me to, you told your story, how you bagged a lot of groceries to get your pilot's license when you were young, and I'm your age when you were young and you started, and I actually bagged groceries at a grocery store in California, and so I just started putting my money away, and I started taking flight lessons, and he showed me a copy of his pilot certificate, and he said, this is because of you. And I never thought that by bagging groceries, I'd make enough money to get my pilot's license. And I was just like, oh, wow. This dude bagged groceries to get his private pilot certificate. And so if that kid can do it and make the priority to do it. Now, I get it. He's working and he lives at home, probably doesn't have a lot of expenses, and he's the right point in time of his life without, family and distraction and whatever. So everybody's got their story, right? But I want to tell those stories about how you overcame obstacles and achieved your objectives inside and also outside of aviation. Because there's a lot of cool people doing a lot of cool things. And I think those stories are what get me excited about continuing on with this process. So that's pretty awesome. Any other awesome questions? You might want to carry a good can of Spam Light and Ghost. I actually carry around a 48-hour kit in the back of the airplane, and I have a can of Spam in my 2-day bag. Just in case, if I ever have an accident or an incident, I have a survival kit. I haven't really vlogged about it because it's just been done. There's so many survival channels. I don't want to really get into that genre. Maybe I should do it for aviation. Maybe I shouldn't. Mostly the stuff is stuff that I like. But, in my 48-hour kit, it's a 3-day kit, but it's really, when it comes down to it, 3 days usually you consume everything in 48 hours. So yeah, Spam, I've already got it in there, but I don't like the light. I've tried both. I don't like Spam Light.
I don't think I've tried Spam Light, so.
Yeah.
But it's Spam. Why do you need a light version of Spam?
I think they just take all the flavor out and say, here's a light version, like light yogurt. Ooh.
No.
Exercise works for me, and so I do the not the unleaded stuff, the regular. I'm not into it. Have I met Jessica Cox? Yes, David, I have. Jessica's actually a close friend of mine. We met at VidCon. Paris was there. We did a lot of talking. We've met up a couple of times since then, and she is fantastic, very inspirational. Just this last year, an awesome gentleman donated her an aircraft to fly. And she started doing a YouTube channel, and among all her other things that she's doing, which she's super hyper overachiever, Jessica is. She's amazing.
She does a lot of stuff.
She did a video with Trish. Remember Trish? They both were born without arms. And I think they may have rebranded. I don't know if it's called Life Without Feet anymore, or Life Without Arms, or Life with Feet.
Yeah, something like that. But I think they did change their name or something.
I think they've just recently rebranded, or Trish has maybe gone off on her own, because I think Trish does way more YouTube than Jessica. And so if you look up, let me just Google it right now, because Trish is very inspirational too. So is Jessica, or is it Tisha? I think it's Tisha. It's not Trish. It's Tisha. Forgive me. Her YouTube channel is Tisha Unarmed. I'm going to go ahead and post the link in the chat right now for you to go and check out her channel. Tisha is amazing. And I'm also, let me do a Jessica's channel as well, because Jessica's just amazing. Let's see, Jessica.
Jessa. That's why it's not coming
Oh,
up.
there we go. I got
There
it.
There
But
you
Jessica, she doesn't do a heck of a lot of YouTube, but she does enough that the content's good. And then, so check out Jessica Cox. She is actually very, very awesome. Her husband and I, talk a little bit. He's a really cool guy too. So that's really great. Any other questions, comments? You're trying to get the kids involved at Flay Bob. You have gotten a few through to private. That's awesome. Flay Bob is one of these really cool airports. It's in Riverside, California, and they actually have an aviation-themed high school campus on the airport property, which is really, really cool. I'm not sure there's very many of those in the country. But Flay Bob is a special, special place. Tons of history. Really cool to get in there. They've got this little corridor that you fly through, so you're not in anybody's controlled airspace. It's a pilot-controlled airport, or as the FAA likes to call it, an uncontrolled. I don't know why they use that term, because I hate uncontrolled. Of course it's controlled. The pilots control it. Anyway, but yeah, Flay Bob. Put that on your bucket list if you're a pilot. Let me tell you the airport code for Flay Bob. It is... What is the airport code for Flay Bob? I think it's RIR, because it used to be Riverside Airport. I think it's Kilo Romeo India Romeo. RIR is the Flay Bob identifier, and it's right there in the Riverside area. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, it's right there on AirNav. So if you look up Kilo Romeo India Romeo, it's Flay Bob. Definitely, if you're in the West ever, it's worth a deviation to go check out that airport. Really cool little airport cafe. Great people that'll just walk up to you and be nosy and find out what you're doing. If you're trying to be private, don't go to Riverside. No, I'm totally kidding. No, but the people are friendly. Like, my buddy and I landed there, and I think within 5 minutes we had a root beer and a slice of pizza in our hand, and we were participating in their local meeting. They just wouldn't take no for an answer. It was awesome, and just really great people. A lot of history there. Good fuel prices if you're in the Los Angeles area, so check that out. Very, very awesome. All right, a little heads up, 64, I'm saving for an airplane. I wanted one since my 16th birthday when I rolled. Thanks for riding me around with you. Oh, wow, Paul, that's very heartwarming. Thank you. Somebody asked me a couple of years ago, when I'm making my radio calls, I always say we. So we're turning right base. We are on approach. And somebody said, hey, you're alone in your airplane. Why are you saying we? And, my response was, well, because you're with me. My viewers, the people that are watching my videos, are traveling along with me on those journeys and on that adventure. And so that's why I say we. And so I don't take that lightly when you send me a message like this to say that I've been a small part in your your inspiration story. So thanks for sharing that. That means a lot. Should we just end it?
Yeah, I'm gonna go have a coughing fit. Hold on.
All right, guys. Well, I sure appreciate everybody joining us for this live feed. It was super fun to do. We've never really talked about what I do for a living. So
the whole beginning of the live feed.
Yeah. So if you're just joining us on the replay, you might want to watch it. Because that's we look at. On Google, it tells you what people are searching for, and that was like the top result is what does Cory Robin do for a living? And I realized, holy crap, I never really talk about
a little bit,
the software company. But
not a whole
and
lot,
all the other flying cowboys are like, yeah, I run best tugs and I do this and I do that. Well, my business is such a specialty business that there's really no advantage for me to talk about it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to win any new clients unless you happen to be an airline CEO. Call me.
Yeah.
But we definitely take pride in our work. We see ourselves more as a service company rather than a software company, because we spend the vast majority of our operational effort on being an extension of our airline clients' business. And it's really fun. It's all about the people. I remember, I think I was down in Central America somewhere. What was it, Guatemala, where CM was? They were in Honduras and Guatemala. But I was down in Roatan, and I was just finishing up scuba diving. I was going to jump on a flight from Roatan to San Pedro Sula or somewhere. I can't remember where I was going. But, you know, all the reservations for the airline that I was flying on, it was one of our clients, were powered by our software. And I just took a moment inside the airplane to kind of take stock at who is on board. And the lady sitting next to me spoke English, and she was very outgoing, and she asked who I was and what was going on, and I mentioned that I work for an airline software company, and that she, you know, she may have booked her reservation on my software. And I asked her, I said, did you book through a travel agent, or how did you book your reservation? And she said, oh, my daughter did it on their new website, which we love. And because this was, you know, during their conversion. And she was actually flying to go visit her grandchildren. And it kind of struck home to me that I'm not just running a business that provides software to airlines, that I'm actually providing a service to where this grandmother, it's now easier for her now that they had online bookings to go visit her grandkids. She's like, it's so amazing. I can go online and see what the flight schedule is, and I can book my reservation. And in Central America, they didn't really have this, you know, I guess this was 10 years ago or so. It's been a while, but it just kind of hit home that there's the human element to everything. And there's the human element to even this interaction where we're doing this live feed, where we're trying to provide fodder for you to take your mind off what's going on in the world and tell stories and show the camaraderie that we have in our business. And I know there's the same or similar camaraderie in a lot of the different clubs and groups that are out there. And I really encourage you to just go ahead and share that. Right now is a critical time in our history where we're going, the whole world is going through a pandemic. It's a catastrophe for a lot of people. My business is struggling, and we're all swimming. We're all trying to stay afloat, and the whole world is in this together. And so I encourage you, as you're going throughout your life, and you have your own little piece of it, to share your positive experiences with others. And that's really the main motivation for the YouTube channel, and the whole motivation between, you know, I know all the Flying Cowboys very intimately, and we're really close friends, and I know every one of them, their motivation, whether it be Mike Patey, whether it be Trent Palmer, whether it be, you know, Hal Stockman, which doesn't produce content, but he's still a very inspirational character. He's the most famous guy on the internet that doesn't have the internet, is what I like to tell people. Started saying that as I was announcing the Oshkosh thing a couple years ago. But our motivation is to just inspire, is to just give people a little bit of a break from whatever they may be going through, because you never know what people are going through. And I know today we're all going through something big together, but there's a lot of other issues going on, and we want to provide that escape. But we also want to get you involved in aviation, get you out there. Here, my kids are calling me on FaceTime, and I want to FaceTime with my kids.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take that as our cue to go ahead and end the live stream. Once again, thank you so much for all of your support and the emails and letters, and you know, a few of you even send care packages at Christmas time. It's very humbling, and I appreciate it. And we're here for you. And so let me know what we can do to continue to help fight the good fight and do what's right by the world and give back a little bit. You guys are awesome. Thanks for your support. You want to say anything?
Yeah, just I mean, this has been fun. So if you want to see more of this, just let us know.
Yeah, this is just really kind of an off the
I
cuff.
know we have a lot more tidbits and stories that we can go on with, so we could just keep going and going.
We really could. Boy, there's a lot of people on. Look on Facebook.
Yeah.
There's a bunch. We've got a couple on Twitch. We got this new Russian channel since we started getting Russian fans. OK.ru. There's people in Russia watching. So I apologize that I don't speak your language, but I hope you enjoyed it. Take care, everybody.